My name is Rene Tshiakanyi. I'm a musician by profession, but I was born in the Congo, DRC, and moved to South Africa about 11 and a half years ago. And ever since, I'm here. Yeah.
Wonderful. What brought you to South Africa?
There were changes in the family. My dad worked for a diamond mine company, and we were groomed to be the third generation. But then, with the changes of regime, the money of the company was taken to finance the war, and that's made the company to collapse. So we found ourselves with that structure around us. And also there were this tribalism. People point out that you are part of those who have benefited. So you just feel like you're very uneasy in your own shoe, in your own country, with your own people. But at that time, I was already starting in the music, and I wrote a song called La Presse Face, which means journalists have been erased, because a friend was journalist, got shot by exposing corruption. And I wrote a song to pay tribute to all the journalists who were killed. And then it turns out that I was arrested by the military, and they even threatened to kill me. And 5 a.m. in the morning, mom came knock on my door and said, "What do you think you're doing?" And then she threw on my bed my passport, and there was a visa, South African visa, and there were flight tickets from Kinshasa to Otambo to Durban. And that's how I ended up here. I never had time to say goodbye to my friends. I never had time to say goodbye to the family. So it was in like a clandestine way that they had to get you out of the country. So when I came, I couldn't speak a word of English. My mother had a brother who lived in KZN for years, and he was our only connection. So we came August 2009, just before, after a year after the first xenophobic attack. And then I've witnessed 3 more xenophobic attacks since I'm here. But then you just pray and you hope for God protection, and that's all that we could do. Well, lockdown, I can say it has been a turning point. In February, I lost my younger brother, and I was still grieving. But I didn't take it seriously because I didn't know what lockdown meant. It was a new terminology for me. When they said 21 days, I was like, well, 21 days would be okay. Then they extended it, and it became this endless thing. By April, I realized that, well, I ran out of money. I was running out of food, and there is no prospect for work. Luckily, my landlady, I always thank her, Caroline Darnay. She would start, like when she would cook for supper, she include me in her program. And, and then she would come and knock on my door and say, "Rene, here's your supper." There wasn't certainty. I never felt like you can't pay your rent, you don't have food, you're away from your family, and even the government program for relief doesn't concern you. But as time went by, I said to my mother, and I said, things are a bit harder. I don't know, I feel like I'm not in my skin, because I don't like to use the word I'm depressed, because I'll worry her. So I said, I just need some time of prayer, and I'll see what I could do. It might be a couple of days. And all I was praying for was just for peace, and because I felt I was losing it. Because a guy said, "Rene, my wife and I used to come to your concert, and we know what musicians are going through. We thought about you. How are you coping?" And I just felt like he was genuine, and I could tell him what was going on. And I tried to explain. He said, "Well, we have a flat that we don't use. We are more than happy to let you stay there if you so willing." And then after a week or so, I received another message, and somebody that I knew said, "Rene, I have people wanting to come to your place with food. They've been helping people in tough time, and I've given them your name." And she didn't tell me who were those people. She said, "Give me your address and I'll pass it on to them, and they'll come to your place." That was toward the end of May. And then as we were talking, one day I saw a car, a VW, coming to my place with food parcels, and they introduced themselves. But I didn't really pay attention who they were, because in my mind I was thinking that friend asked them to come and drop food. So as I was thanking her, she said, "You don't need to thank me. You need to thank St. Elizabeth Church in Westville. They're the ones who thought about you." So I didn't know who they were. So I was like, this is weird. I'm not a member of the church. And all of a sudden, and then I found out that Jill, who's my friend's friend, attended the church and was part of the program. From where I was to those events happening to me, I had a sense of reassurance that I was not alone, and that somehow things would be okay. I don't know how, but I just had that certainty that things would be okay. And I've seen so much goodness. So it was a turning point for me, because I used to be ambivalent about when people would ask you, "Do you believe in God?" Then I was like, yeah, my parents used to pray. We used to go to church with my parents. And during this lockdown, what I've seen can only make me want to say, yes, I do believe in God, and God does exist. So I'm really thankful for everything. Yeah, thank you.